Hi everyone. Welcome. Ciao a tutti. Let's practice a little bit of Italian.
Okay.
No, I'm joking, don't worry. Just in English. But if you want, we can try a little bit in Italian.
Oh, that's good. Okay, let's see here.
Okay, welcome
I lost it.
everyone. Hi Dolly, hi Jill, hi Linda, hi Steve.
Hi.
Steve. Hi Chris. Carla, Laura, and
We're not live.
all the ones. Okay, guys, just before starting, please mute yourself. Okay, so we can avoid background noises, but of course, if you want to interact, you can unmute yourself. Okay, just so this way it will be simple for everyone to follow the sessions. Okay, so just we wait just 1 minute and then we can start it to talk about this interesting topic. Okay, so in the meantime I can introduce myself. I'm Isabella Carrino and I'm the owner and managing partner of Italian Experiences. Italian Experiences organize events to promote Italian culture and traditions, in-person and virtual events like this one, and much more like Italian classes, cooking classes, and whatsoever. So today we are here with our special guest, Antonino Cacace, for the friend Tony, okay? Tony is a tour guide and advisor at Luxtralink. Tony will say the perfect pronunciation of his company later. And with Tony today, we are going to talk about the different kinds of destination which you can choose from when you plan your trip to Italy. So from the popular cities that everyone knows to the off the beaten path. So the ones that we don't know yet. Most of us maybe don't know. So if you want to ask a question, sorry, Tony will also share with us some ideas of itineraries, but of course they are just ideas. There are plenty of choices about itineraries. So Tony, he will be available to talk with you in another session and answer to your question about itinerary and help you in find your right itinerary for your trip. And also Tony will answer to all your questions today. And if you want to ask questions during the event, during this session, you can use the chat box, text your questions, and I will read the question to Tony. Or you can wait at the end of the event and we will open the Q&A session and you can ask questions to Tony. Okay, so I think we are ready. So Tony, it's your turn. You can introduce yourself and let's go.
Well, thank you to Isabella and Italian Experiences. I hope you can all hear me with my microphone, and I welcome everyone on this Zoom call. Thank you to the millions joining today on this Zoom call. And the goal of these episodes is to give a general overview and some tips when you're planning a trip to Italy. And we have several episodes. So today, episode 1 will be focusing on which cities to visit. And when you're choosing your city, we look at popular cities versus off the beaten path, especially for those who maybe have already visited Italy once or twice or many times. So starting with the popular cities, Of course, the first one that comes to mind is Rome, which also has one of the international airports. So most people who travel to Italy have probably or will probably land at this airport. And of course, when you visit Rome, I always suggest before you visit a city to do a little search online as far as the top 10 to do in a city. That gives you an idea of the most important sites or museums to visit. And of course, if you did such a search for Rome, you would have at the top of the list to go visit the Colosseum, visit the Vatican museums and St. Peter's Basilica, take a stroll in the downtown and visit the many squares and famous fountains like the Trevi Fountain, or maybe historical buildings like the Pantheon. And also you might find in the list some little hidden treasures or suggestions on where to find the best gelato or a specialty dish, or even the typical shopping. So another popular city would be Firenze, Florence. And of course, when you look at Florence, directly comes to mind the great cathedral in Florence, which is the 4th largest in the world, with the beautiful Brunelleschi dome. Also, you would think of the statue of David in the Accademia Gallery. Or for art lovers, it might come up to visit the Uffizi Gallery, the private collection of the Medici family, which is now a public museum. And why not stroll along the old bridge, the Ponte Vecchio, or shop for leather or for gold and silver. So these are some ideas that you would have if you did a search on Florence. And why not try the typical T-bone steak and wash it down with some nice Chianti wine from the region. Another popular city would be Venice, and of course the city on the water, the queen of the Adriatic. And in Venice, everyone will step into St. Mark's Square, obviously. Why not take a ride on a gondola or visit a museum like the Doge's Palace, which was the seat of the Republic in Venetian times in the Middle Ages and centuries later. Also suggestions of taking a trip to explore other islands in the lagoon, like the colorful island of Burano, or even to try what the locals have as a drink. Most of you might think a Bellini cocktail, but the locals actually drink the Spritz cocktail, and they enjoy that with some 2-bite sandwiches called the cicchetti. So these are the popular cities. And if you've been to Italy already, you have probably visited these cities. Then we have some cities that are becoming more trendy, thanks to the internet or to other people who have advertised these locations. Cinque Terre, I remember going there when hardly anyone was visiting. Now, of course, when you go visit, there's thousands of people. Except during the COVID, of course. But Cinque Terre is one of those destinations that has become very trendy in the last, we can say, 10 years. And you can visit it by the ferry boats or by train. And then you can enjoy even hiking between some of the villages along their beautiful paths. Why not enjoy a nice pesto dish in the Cinque Terre? In fact, this region, Liguria, is known for the creation of the pesto sauce. So you can find lasagna pesto or trofie is a kind of pasta pesto, and also enjoy the beautiful and delicious seafood of this area. Another trendy destination in the last years, Lake Como. I was very lucky when I first started as a tour guide 25 years ago to have to take my groups there and go there every 2 weeks and stay in the middle of the lake and then take a nice trip to the split point of the lake, the town of Bellaggio, many of you maybe know this name because of the casino in Las Vegas, but I assure you the casino has nothing like the town of Bellagio, which actually means two lakes, Bellagio. So, and the reason it's called like this is because it stands at the split point of the lake, which is shaped like an upside down wishbone. So it starts as one lake, and then in the middle, it splits into two lakes. But this has become trendy also since George Clooney bought a villa there. And just so you know, I was his real estate agent when he bought the villa there. Just kidding. Another trendy destination that you find on many itineraries is Verona. Letters to Juliet is a movie that has even increased the audience of Verona, but everyone goes there to visit Juliet's house, maybe even pay the fee to come out on the balcony and be Juliet for a minute with the hundreds of tourists down below, and then buy a souvenir, or visit the Arena, the Roman amphitheater in the main square, which is where they hold some great concerts in the summer season. So a lot of people also visit Verona. But now let's talk a little bit more about some places that are off the beaten path, that are starting to become part of some itineraries or are starting to get more visitors in these last years. For example, in Tuscany, Lucca. Probably a lot of people now know Lucca, but not everyone is able to visit Lucca because it's not really on a lot of itineraries unless you plan your own individual trip or you find the company that actually offers an itinerary with Lucca. But this is a beautiful town in Tuscany. It's a walled city, so it's surrounded by thick walls. Compared to many other medieval cities of Italy, it's not on top of a hill. It's actually on low level. And one of the most beautiful places is the Piazza dell'Anfiteatro, this amphitheater-shaped square that you see in the picture. So Lucca has been recently added to some itinerary as an off the beaten path. Also Modena. Modena, this is a picture of the main square, the Piazza Grande, the big square. But if you visit Modena, you might go visit the birthplace of Pavarotti. You might try some Lambrusco wine, the red fizzy wine. But definitely when you are in Modena, you are gonna go visit a acetaia, which is a producer of the famous balsamic vinegar. When you buy balsamic vinegar, normally on the bottle, it would say that it's from Modena, di Modena or da Modena. You will learn how to identify also the original balsamic compared to the more commercial level of balsamic that you find mostly in supermarkets. And you can also identify the difference just looking at the cost. You would also, if you're visiting Modena, most people would have the opportunity or would plan to go visit just slightly outside Modena, the area of Maranello, which is famous for the Ferrari. In fact, Maranello is the area where Ferrari has his test circuit, its museum and gallery. And if you go visit the Museo Ferrari, you normally would find outside of the museum even some Ferraris that you can pay to test drive. Not the Formula One car, but the commercial street cars. So that's something you would do if you visited Modena. Actually, not too far from Modena is also Parma, which is famous for the Parmigiano cheese and the Parma ham. And that also can appear on some itineraries. If we move a little bit more down into central Italy, Tivoli has been recently added on a few itineraries or is offered as an option to go visit as a day trip, or it can be a day trip that you can plan when you are staying in Rome. And Tivoli used to be the resting countryside place for the nobles and for the popes and the rich families. And in fact, in this picture, you see the villa of one of those rich families, the Villa d'Este, which is famous for its terraced gardens and all the different fountains. If you're a lover of classic movies, Roman Holiday actually starts with scenes of fountains. Many people mistakenly think that these fountains are in the city of Rome, but they're actually the fountains of Villa d'Este. So you will have to go visit Villa d'Este if you want to see some Italian Renaissance style gardens and fountains. And it's also where the travertine marble comes from, which has been used to decorate the Colosseum and St. Peter's Basilica. That's the marble that has all those little holes in it. That's the style of marble. And it's also famous for hot springs. In fact, you can smell the hot springs as you arrive in the area of Tivoli. But Italy is famous for having hot springs all over the country. Whenever you see the name Terme in the name of the city, that means that that city has hot springs and many people go visit them. One city that, or village we can say, that is off the beaten track is Spello, which has been added recently on a few itineraries. Spello is actually on the list and in the top 10 of the most beautiful, we call them borghi d'Italia. Borghi means village. There is a list and a website, I più belli borghi d'Italia, which includes 308 little villages, and Spello would be in the top 10 to visit. It's just not too far from Assisi, if anyone knows Assisi, or Perugia, and so you would find it on itineraries that focus on central Italy with its nice little hilltop, uphill alleys and all the flowers that normally decorate the houses of the people living there. So very beautiful and quiet compared to many other little villages. Not too far, but more on the west side of the same region, Umbria, you would find Orvieto. This is one of the famous hilltop towns of Italy. This is more easy to see, to view when you are driving through Italy, because from the motorway, as you drive from Rome to Florence, you actually would see it from your car, just standing on top of a rock, or you could reach it with a regional train from Rome or from Florence. Then you would park your car in the parking lot down below, and you would actually take a group of escalators that have been built into the rock to make your way up to town and then walk your way up into the main square, which is dominated by the cathedral. If we were to move more south of Italy, one of the nicest villages and part of these new itineraries that offer you to explore a bit of off the beaten track areas is Alberobello. Alberobello is famous and a UNESCO World Site for the architecture of the buildings there. You can see with these conical roofs, these are called trulli, and this is an entire village made of trulli buildings. But you can see some scattered trulli also as you get closer or as you leave Alberobello during a visit. So this is a beautiful town. A few hours away from Alberobello, going down towards the hill of Italy, because you know Italy is shaped as a boot. So when you look at the hill, this is where you would find Ostuni. Ostuni is one of several small villages that is known as whitewashed villages, because practically when you walk and when you see this town from a distance, it's all white, and all the houses are covered in white stucco and paint. And this is another beautiful off the beaten path jewel in southern Italy. This is just between the hill and the toe of Italy. In the region Basilicata is the town of Matera. And Matera has been nominated Cultural Capital of Italy last year. Unfortunately, because of COVID, hardly anyone went to visit it. So we are probably going to have it as Cultural Capital also for this year, as Italy starts reopening sometime in July. And this is where they also filmed a movie that maybe many of you have watched, The Passion of the Christ, was filmed here. And it's known mainly for the caves. So ancient population, but even up to the 1950s, so just after the Second World War, people in this area were living in caves. Till they actually started to build more of a village of houses. And today people go there and you can actually visit caves and see how the rooms were formed in the caves. And you can see the people that were living together with the animals too, to keep the cave warm. So very interesting city, and also a UNESCO protected site of Italy. If we move into Sicily, one of the two islands that are part of the country, down in the southwest corner of the island, in the area of the city of Ragusa, is the small village of Modica, which is really off the beaten path. Most trips of Sicily would not reach this spot, but there are a few that do. Most of them would go visit the temples in Agrigento, the capital Palermo, the seaside resort of Taormina, or maybe even the important historical area of Syracuse. But Modica would be really off the beaten path and has beautiful Baroque style churches. And if you go to visit Modica, I'm pretty sure you'll be taken to also visit a chocolate maker, because it's famous for the production of artisan chocolate. So if you follow some Italian TV, also the police TV series of the Montalbano Commissar, investigator, were filmed in this area of Sicily between Agrigento and Ragusa. So those are just some examples to give you an idea of popular cities, trendy cities, and off the beaten path cities. Of course, the list could continue forever because there are many more. We had to pick some just to give you an idea. But I've selected here some itineraries that would give you an idea of how you can visit Italy if you just wanted to do a popular cities, or a mix of popular and trendy, or something off the beaten path. This trip, Great Italian Cities, as you can see from the image, visits Rome, Florence, and Venice. It's called the leisure style because you actually spend 3 nights in each one of those cities. So for travel companies, 3 nights is considered leisure, and then a 1 night is considered fast pace, and a 2 nights is considered comfortable pace. And in between the cities, you would go visit Assisi and Bologna as stops along the way. But also while you're in Rome, you have the possibility of doing a day trip to visit the famous Roman ruins in Pompeii, and to visit the summer residence of the Pope, Castel Gandolfo. So this is a popular trip, but as you can see, it offers also something that is a little bit less trendy and off the beaten path as the summer residence of the Pope. But if we move into something that is now off the beaten path, this itinerary, as you can see zoomed from the image of Italy, is focused on the north west area of the country, mainly around the regions of Lombardy, Tuscany, and Liguria and Piemonte. And it would start and end in Milan, which is the other international airport of Italy, together with Rome, so easily to reach. But you would go from Milan to Busseto, which is the birthplace of Giuseppe Verdi, composer. And you would visit Parma, Modena, and Maranello, which I mentioned before. So you'll probably go visit a caseificio, a cheesemaker that makes the Parmesan cheese. I have to correct myself. Parmesan is the wrong word, because the Parmigiano Reggiano is actually a protected cheese, and only when it's called Parmigiano Reggiano, you are buying the original. Anything else is an imitation. So next time you want to try the cheese, make sure it's called Parmigiano Reggiano. And you would learn things like that. You would taste the balsamic vinegar in Modena. You would go visit on this trip Maranello with the Ferrari Museum. You would go on this trip down into Tuscany and visit Lucca and stay overnight there for one night. You would go to La Spezia to then take the boat and visit the Cinque Terre, the 5 fishing villages. And you would end with 2 nights in Rapallo, and you would go visit the exclusive resort of Portofino while you're there. And then you would enter into the Piemonte region. You will visit the first capital of Italy, Turin, because the first capital before Rome was actually Turin, and then for a few years, Florence. In fact, if you ever drive to Turin, as you enter the city limits, you would find the sign saying Turin, first capital of Italy. And on the way back to Milan, you would stop in Vercelli, which is famous for the rice farms. And in fact, you would go visit a rice farm. 90% of the rice, which is then used to make the famous risottos of Italy, comes from this area of the country. So this is a very off the beaten track itinerary, and most popular with maybe people who have not visited Italy yet, because you do want to visit Rome, Florence, and Venice, and then you would maybe consider something a little bit more unusual. Another off the beaten track is this country roads of Umbria and Tuscany. You would start in Rome, of course. You would stop in Orvieto. You'll do a cooking class in Orvieto. You will then reach Perugia, which will be your base for 3 nights to go visit some other towns like Spello that we mentioned earlier, Assisi, Perugia itself, Cortona. Cortona, in case it sounds familiar, is the movie where a lot of the scenes of Under the Tuscan Sun were filmed, where the villa from that movie is actually located. And then it moves up for 3 nights in the middle of Tuscany. Normally, a lot of the trips that stay in Tuscany as a base would use as a town Montecatini Terme as a base to explore. So a hot spa town. You go visit Florence and San Gimignano, Lucca, and Pisa. So as you can see, this offers a nice mix of popular and a lot of off the beaten track towns and villages. And you don't really move that much, because from Rome to Perugia is less than 3 hours, about 2.5 hours, and the same from Perugia to Florence. So you don't have to spend many hours on a coach to travel, or in the car from one place to the other. Another very interesting itinerary, probably the most interesting because I actually helped create this itinerary and I got it myself, is 12 days from Palermo to Rome for anyone who wants to dig deep into the south of Italy, Sicily and southern Italy. In 12 days, you have here the possibility of visiting some beautiful places in Sicily, the capital, Palermo, where you start, and go visit Cefalù, which is this beautiful seaside resort on the northern coast. Actually, here you go have a lunch with a local family. Then you go visit the temples in Agrigento. You go see the famous volcano of Mount Etna and stay 3 nights in Taormina, beautiful resort. But in the south of Italy, there you see on the itinerary, you'll go visit the area of Matera with the caves, Alberobello with the Trulli, and then you can enjoy some relaxing time in the area of Sorrento, maybe visiting the Amalfi Coast or Capri, and then end in Rome. So someone who has already visited Rome and wants to do something different and more in the south, this would be ideal, with a lot of great food experiences. And if you are instead someone who doesn't want to travel with a coach or by train or renting a car, but maybe you are more into cruising, There are some companies that have small ships or even big yachts that can reach these very small ports of Italy. And so one company has this 14 days from Monte Carlo to Valletta, but most of it is in Italy. So you just start from Monte Carlo. You can dock into the port of, into the bay of Portofino, because it's not really a port, it's just a very small bay. Then you can follow the Cinque Terre, visit the town of Porto Venere. You can go in the beautiful area of the Monte Argentario area and visit Porto Ercole. Then down south to visit Capri and Positano, Amalfi Coast. And then you can reach the toe of Italy, one of the islands, the Aeolian Islands, Lipari, and then stop in Taormina, Siracusa, which is famous for its Greek theater and gardens, and also for the beautiful island of Ortigia, before you end in Malta and Valletta. So this is a very particular itinerary, not the typical cruising itinerary that starts in Civitavecchia, just north of Rome, and goes to Livorno and some other ports. So normally this is done with a big yacht that can accommodate about 120 people maximum. So there are a lot of other itineraries. I had to choose 5, 6, just to give you an idea that there are actually some planned itineraries that you can do if you want to visit off the beaten track cities or popular cities. And then in the next episodes, we will talk also on how you can do it by yourself if you are more the independent traveler that likes to just rent a car or take the train. And we'll talk about all the pros and cons of planning a trip like that in the next episodes. So in case you want more information and you don't have already someone who is a specialist for Italy or Europe, this is my contact information. My name is Tony, or everyone calls me Tony. My real name is Antonino. And my email is info@luxtralink.com. You have my phone number. I'm based on the West Coast of the US, in the San Francisco Bay Area. So take note of that if you're making a call with the hour difference. I don't answer my phone at night. And you can also check my website, but my website is just for getting ideas of offers. It's not really to place a booking, or if you just forgot my contact information, you can find it on my website. So www.luxtralink.com. And with that, I finish my segment. I pass it on to Isabella if she has any questions that came in, or she will take care of how we do the next part.
Okay, so if everyone has a question, you can unmute yourself and ask Tony a question about the destinations or the itineraries. In the meantime, we want to remind you that we have upcoming 4 other events like that with Tony to go through all this topic. So the next one will be next week, same on Tuesday, same time, and we talk about accommodation and transportation. Then we have the ones about food experiences. So we'll go through all this kind of food you can eat, where, and I could do a different kind also of trip about, because we know Italy is famous for food too, not just for art. So we want to experience everything. Then the next episode will be about daily sightseeing, and the last one, it will be about individual, group, and family travel. So because of course, if you travel by yourself, with family, or in group, you have different needs. So you have maybe to know how to plan your trip. So I think that anybody has a question, I can, no? If you want to ask a question, you can write in the chat or unmute yourself. Otherwise, you can go on our website, italianexperience.us, and register for the next event. For those who donated for today, thank you so much. You will receive the video of these events and the e-booklet with all the information we share today. For the other one, if you want to receive all this information, I can send you a link to donate. You receive that in the second times. So I think that we're done. So, Rob, you
Yeah,
have...
thank you. Hi. I unmuted myself as Rob Banana.
I didn't see you. Tell me.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Tony. Good to see you again.
Hi, Rob. I saw you at the beginning of the call. Thank you for joining.
Sure. The Sicily trip, the Southern Italy and Sicily trip, that is neither a, I know there's the more slow-paced tours, and then there's that medium phase, I forget what you called it, and then there's the more accelerated. How would you describe that one? That one with Palermo and the other?
Yes, I would say that it's definitely a comfortable to leisure, because most places there will be a 2-night stay, but leisure because when you reach Taormina you actually have a 3-night stay. And then you, of course, you have a 1 night in Calabria, which is just to give the opportunity to many people, especially who have Italian roots, to enjoy a night in Calabria, to break the drive halfway, and to go visit something in Calabria which not many people visit, and that is the museum in Reggio Calabria, which has 2 of the most important bronze statues in the world, called the Bronzi di Riace. But unfortunately, hardly anyone goes to see them because they're right down at the toe of Italy, and everyone is in a rush.
Right. Yeah, that's good to know. That one looks especially interesting. Yeah, that was my question.
Well, I know that you are interested in that trip, and I think that is a great choice for anyone who wants to dig deep into the south of Italy and cover not only Sicily, but the south of Italy in a small amount of time, in 12 days.
Yes.
But also offers a lot of culinary experiences, and it is a very inclusive trip too.
Great. And the October date has been confirmed, is that right?
Yes, the October date was confirmed on the Wherever Tours website.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember exactly now because I have a lot of dates in my head.
Right, yeah. No,
but it's the first week of October, the departure.
Great. That sounds good. Oh, and another question on the we've done Trafalgar, but we haven't done Wherever Tours. Is the coach size about the same? Are you traveling with about the same number of people?
So standard, the coach size is the same, but the group size tends to be much smaller, normally below 30 in most cases, for a trip like this. If the group size is very small, they would consider using a smaller coach. It would have benefits to access to some areas or reduce some costs and pollution.
Yeah. That's good. Great. Terrific. Thank you.
Tony, Mona has a question. Are there any trips at the end of August?
There are, so for Italy, there are trips all year round. If she's asking about this trip of Southern Italy and Sicily that I posted, there is only a trip in early April and the first week of October, but not to worry because there are many other operators that offer trips of Southern Italy and Sicily all throughout the summer. So she can contact me and we can find the itinerary that best suits her if she wants to visit the south of Italy.
Perfect. I think
one note though, August is a very hot month to visit Italy.
Yes, it is.
We just to give an idea, the temperatures tend to reach peaks of 45 Celsius, which is over the 102, 105 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So when you are planning to do a trip that includes sightseeing and being out and active, you probably want to avoid that kind of heat combined with the humidity. It gets very tiring and people get very cranky. That's why I don't guide trips at the end of July.
Yeah. And don't forget the mosquitoes, because we have mosquitoes in Italy. They are not so aggressive, but in the night you have to protect yourself with sprays. Okay, don't forget when you go during the summer.
Yes.
In the night.
I mean, it's not a catastrophe, but you do encounter mosquitoes depending on some cities and depending on the humidity at the time.
I want you to know, because I don't want to go there and you don't know that there are.
Yeah, if you're very sensitive to mosquito bites, better to avoid the humidity in the summer, and always be prepared in the summer with a spray and a cream.
Yeah, just you to know. Okay, guys, I think that we're done. So thanks everyone for joining these events, and thank you so much, Tony, for your amazing presentations. I will send you also the information, Tony's information, Tony's contact, so you will have also in the email. So if you need to contact him, you can do it directly. See you next week. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
for everyone joining, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
Grazie. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Good seeing you.
Hi, thank you.
Senza glutine.
Senza glutine. You remember us?
I remember little bits. Of course, I've had more than 10,000 travelers travel with me, but I can recognize the faces.
Yep.
Yes.
With Marcello backing up the bus.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you joined us on this Zoom call. I see different videos and names of people who have traveled with me in the past. So I thank everyone, and also everyone who is new to this for joining, and I hope to see you in Italy.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will try.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.